Hey, sup, Chief. I'm so excited for this video. Today we are going to discuss about Cloudflare's R2 and D1 services. So yesterday I uploaded a video and my G asked me to create a video on R2 and D1. So I said, why not? Let's do it because I'm doing this for you. And if you have any doubts, it's my duty to clear it. So this video is dedicated to Ken Kurosaki, who has asked me to create a video on R2 and D1. So let's do it. So this is the project I'm going to show you. This is my past project which I created. I have my brain got what I needed, the caffeine. So it's going to give you what you need. So this is the project which deals with forecasts. Okay, so you get a forecast in your Excel sheet and it passes that Excel sheet via API. That API is hosted on Cloudflare as a worker, and the front end is on Next.js that is hosted on Cloudflare pages. So this project utilizes both the Cloudflare's D1 service and the Cloudflare's R2 service. So let me show you how it's done. First, we are going to see is this one. The left side is this one is your front-end application, the Next.js project, and this one is your Cloudflare Workers project, which is another project. It's a separate project hosted on separate repository on GitHub, but you could also merge them using monorepo, which I have already shown in my previous video, the tutorial. So let us focus on what is Cloudflare's D1. Cloudflare's D1. So Cloudflare D1 is just an SQL database, SQL-like database. So let me be clear here, okay? It's just a normal database. It is an SQL-like database, not MySQL or Postgres. If you are looking for an SQL-like database, you don't have to look at anymore because this will be your go-to services. If you know the difference between SQL-Lite and PostgreSQL, you won't make a mistake when selecting one for your project. Since if you see, I'm building a LinkedIn bio tool at the moment, and I started with Cloudflare D1 services as my database, but as I've gone further in my journey, and I got to know the limitations of SQL-Lite database, not D1's limitation. It's an SQL-Lite limitation compared to Postgres. Postgres allows much more, you can say, relation between your tables. So I decided to use Neon for this project. But here I'm going to talk about D1s. So D1s is an SQL-like database. You get everything an SQL needs. If you see the pricing, oh my god, 5 million rows read a day. That's for free, okay? And 100,000 rows written per day. I mean, that's pretty that's super generous for a free tier. And the workers paid plan also costs $5 a month and additional 0.000 million if you exceed the 25 billion a month read. Okay, that's good. This is it for Cloudflare D1. If you want to show me how I integrated it, I have already shown in my previous video. Let me show you how it is being used in this database. Okay, so if I show you here, sorry for the errors because this project I just pulled it from GitHub and I don't have some environment variables since they were given me from the industry. Okay, if I show you, you can see I've created index.ts which connects to my database using Drizzle as an ORM, and there is the schema which I created in SQL-Lite form. You can see SQL-Lite form, and it is being called somewhere here. Okay, you can see here db.select from tables where SQL is equal to, and this is how you do it. And for R2, which I'm using for storing the Excel files that is given from the industry, R2 storages, let me see if yes, energy forecast. So you can see 5 objects have been stored here. Size is 90 MB. You can create a bucket from here and just connect it to your worker like this. You'll need environment variables, bindings. You can connect your R2 using bindings. If you don't know what is bindings, you read the document. The documentation is pretty comprehensive and you will learn everything you need about how to connect your worker with your R2. So you can see there is the base API which calls the function parseCSV, which takes you can see the object stored in here in my R2 bucket and just parse that exe file and store it to my Cloudflare's D1 database. So you can see the workers, what is the worker the API is doing here. It takes the files from R2, parses it and stores in the D1 so that the front end could access it. And if I open this, you will see the public URL access. So anyone with the URL can access this, but this shouldn't be the one because I know that nobody would access this, and this is not some secret data. So the access is public here, and you can see it's all CSV files. So object storage, R2 is like an object storage where you can store anything, pretty much anything. If you have any PDF, a CSV file, a Word document, a movie, MOV meaning MP4 format, anything, audio format, anything could be stored. Just a bucket. You have to create a bucket and store anything you want and just pull it anytime you want. Okay. So this is R2, like alternative for S3. There are two classes of operation, class A operation and class B operation. We have a class B operation here. You can see class B operation, class A operation. So we have used class A operations, which happen to be more expensive. Okay, because and tend to mutate state. So you can see there are like free egress data transfer on the internet. AWS doesn't offer. AWS charges you for your egress. Okay, so you know that. I think it's free. It's free. Yeah, it's free. It's free, right? So the free tier offers a generous amount of 10 GB a month, and class A operation 1 million requests and class B 10 million requests. Okay, and the egress is completely free. You are paid or free plan. It's completely free. Transfer and upload. So if for your use case, it's pretty simple. If you want to store any objects on storage, you could use R2. If you want to use SQLite database, you could use D1. Lastly, I want to show you this image, which will exactly tell you what services to use and what cloud providers offers for them. So if you're using serverless compute, in this case, we are in need of an object storage, right? So you can see multiple providers here and what all they provide for object storage. Cloudflare offers R2, AWS offers S3, and it goes on. One more thing, RDS, which is a AWS offering, is and Postgres database. Okay, and the Cloudflare D1 is an SQLite database. There is a major difference, etc., etc. It's a basic simple. You know, there are some format that SQLite don't supports. If we show you, SQLite doesn't support JSON B format. Let me show you my current project. You know, so this is my PostgreSQL format. PG table. You can see there are really good bunch of data types that I'm using for my database. You can see the enum being used here. You can also see JSON B, like binary format JSON. You could also see the normal You can also see a normal JSON here. You can see a Boolean. Okay, guys, SQLite doesn't support Boolean. I mean, that got me a switch. That made me a switch from SQLite to Postgres, because if every startup project needs a Boolean value to be stored in their database, like is user active, has user completed its onboarding. But for SQLite, what you got to do is you got to create an integer saying 0 for true and 1 for false, or it's like vice versa, other way. Okay, now whatever, but you have to store an integer value when storing a Boolean. And UIID is also not supported. You have to like just write ID as an integer. I have two tables in my dummy database, user and workspaces. I will open the workspaces table, and you can see it's a pretty normal ID and stuff. Like it is all just text being stored here. You can see. So to answer your questions, when to use Cloudflare D1 database. So let's say if you're building a small project, a to-do app where there are not complex relation, and you want to write texts, you want to read and write texts on the database, then SQLite is it's a best choice you can have. And PostgreSQL is for complex application which has relationships between tables, multiple relationships, where you need to use joins, clauses, and bunch of SQL stuff. So that is when you use Postgres, and I hope in future Cloudflare releases their own Postgres database. But D1 is pretty fast. If you top it up with Cloudflare Worker, it's blazing fire. If you want to use KV, it's like a key value pair storage. It's a key value pair storage, nothing else. If you want to store some map data, a key, a value, it is best for using cache value, user session, stores user session, etc. That is it. But I'm not using this because I don't need to store any cache value here. Everything is done by my front end and my database and my authentication provider, so I don't need to worry about KV. But I am going to use R2 in future in link in bio 2 project that I'm building. At the moment, I'm not utilizing D1. I'm using only Cloudflare's Worker program. Okay, I'm using Cloudflare Pages and Worker. My front end is deployed on Cloudflare's Worker. Cloudflare Pages, I'm sorry. So I hope I have gone over the two services that you asked me for. I'm not sure if I explained it really well or good, but let me know if you have any doubts, and I tend to answer them. Thank you. Bye bye. See you chief in the next video.